Mm, mm, mm. My last day in the Air Force was the best day of my life. Oh, you want to hear about all the glamour, glitz I experienced? The wonderful deployments to beautiful locations such as Portugal and Hawaii? Or maybe you want to hear about my heroic efforts overseas? Maybe I should excite you with my blissful vacation to the beautiful island of Barbados. Sorry to burst your bubble, but you won't get that here. You see, those are other people's stories. I didn't have the pleasure of not one of those experiences. In fact, my base sucked, my job sucked, and my life sucked for those 4 years. No, not because I was in no man's land in the deep trenches of Mississippi, not because armadillos, skunks, deer ran rampant on the base. Oh, and not because I was the oldest airman in the dorms, but because I had the worst job ever. Wait, what was that? How could a job in the world's greatest Air Force be bad? Want to see a grown man cry? Just take his money. That's what I did in the Air Force. As the only debt management monitor in finance, I became the villain of the base. Forgive me if I seem heartless, but these folks weren't saints. I saw the reports, and from where I sat, they created their own complaints. Just so you're aware, the Air Force has ranks. You commit an infraction, they take action and take a stripe without thanks. It's now on your record. Your career's in decline. And as if that weren't enough, you got hit with a big fat fine. That's $200 every time you made a mistake. That's $200 you owed the Air Force Bank. I got your photo of infractions and reviewed them in detail. Then I sent a courtesy, how would you like to pay your debt email? But for some reason, people thought my job was treason. They got mad at me because I wanted to help, but as far as I can tell, people get funny when they can't account for the money. I said people get funny when they can't account for the money. Take, for instance, Madam Sergeant Wanna Fight, who was transferring from Hawaii to our soul-sucking site. Her housing checks needed to adjust from $2,200 to $845. She forgot to sign travel vouchers. When she arrived, that's $245 she owed the Air Force Bank. She wanted to punch my face, cause she forgot to be frank. But dare I say, people get funny when they can't account for the money. Now, Second Lieutenant Nice Guy had a gold bar on his collar. He was training to be an engineer, or was it a pilot? I can't remember. I spent a year trying to sort through his debts. He was so sweet to me, I had to try my best. He owed $1,000 to the Air Force Bank, but owing $1,000 wasn't his only mistake. He was escorted out in handcuffs for beating his wife. Nice Guy got the boot for an unforgivable strike. Dare I say, people get funny even when they don't owe the money. Some of these folks aren't so bad, they just want to live their lives. Like film a YouTube show in uniform, or smoke Mary Jane in their dorm, or just have threesomes while on the front lines. Which brings me to Lieutenant Colonel Disrespect. Whew, he was a doozy. He never replied to my emails, but ambushed me with a shouting spree. How dare you tell me I owe this much? He spewed from his pale face. Everyone could hear him, but they cowered to their space. I was so disrespected that I wanted to throw hands. I almost got laid off cause I fought his demand. $6,000 he refused to pay. $6,000 made me want to say good day. Dare I say, people get funny when you're trying to help them with the money. I said people get funny when you're trying to help them with the money. And why am I here anyway? I'm supposed to be on Broadway with my siblings somewhere, or on a movie set, or shaking a tail feather on stage. I love to write, act, dance, and trying to sing a little bit. So why was I rocking fatigues and boots? Because starving artists must keep a day job for security and sanity reasons. When I'm writing a story, my characters talk to me about what they want their next move to be. That's when it's time to be around real people for a while. But if I was going to get a job, I wanted a good job that I actually liked. Intelligence analysis or intelligence analyst was my top choice. But they changed my job to finance when I got to boot camp because the Air Force needed me there. What a drag. I was annoyed by people complaining about their debt letters when I was just doing my job. I was tired of the early morning runs on an empty stomach, the constant dictation of my life and my schedule, and zero time or energy to write. And because of this, I grew bitter. Practicing my art makes me happy. The military paid my cheap bills in Mississippi, but it wasn't enough to remove the bitterness from my heart. If I couldn't practice my craft, then I had to do my next favorite thing. Travel. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to go out the country since I had never been. I applied for my passport and submitted my leave of request in advance to go home so I could fly out the New Orleans airport somewhere. I didn't know where. But when I got to work, I started looking at the islands such as Belize and Barbados, Trinidad and Jamaica. I wanted to go everywhere. The smokers in the office had millions of smoke breaks. As a non-smoker, I drank a lot of water and took bathroom breaks. In the restroom, I met a staff sergeant who was new to the base. I complimented her hair, she complimented mine. She had a love for travel and was from Barbados. I told her how I literally was just looking at Barbados on the internet and wanted to go. And she was going soon, so I could go with her. And then a few weeks later, my passport arrived. But our conflicting schedules almost made me settle for home. However, at the last minute, we found great tickets to go. Since the Air Force didn't send me there, I decided to send myself. I had a nice stash in the bank and a new friend to guide me. And finally, I was on the plane to Barbados. Woo, I had a good time. I passed out at the Crop Over Festival and turned blue-black from the heat. Now, in New Orleans, it's hot and humid, but the heat in Barbados is on a whole nother level. My friend tried to wake me up to see Rihanna, but I wanted to sleep. Then, when I woke up, I got mad because I thought nobody woke me up. They clowned me and laughed. The whole time I was in Barbados, I couldn't use my Android phone. It wasn't set up for international travel yet in 2013. When I made it back to the States, I had over 30 texts and 20 voicemails asking if I was all right. My family thought I was dead. All because my overbearing, super sensitive supervisor sent me a text saying, "Have a good week off at home," and I didn't respond because I couldn't. He caused a big stir and lots of confusion. If only he had sent me the text before I boarded the plane to Memphis to get to Barbados, nothing would have been blown out of proportion. I wanted to get out, but not like that. I was interrogated profusely when I got back. I didn't know I needed permission to go out the country while on active duty. Nobody told me. I was simply trying to take a break from the chaos that debt letters caused and almost got myself in serious trouble. So, I decided to leave traveling alone and focus on volunteering. Waiting on Sundays to go to church was just taking too long to calm me down after a nerve-wracking day in finance. So I started volunteering on Wednesday nights to help young military kids learn Bible verses. Some were ecstatic to be there, while others had a fit. It actually helped me to gain some respect on the base because the officers' children whom I taught were most of the officers who wanted to chew me out for sending them debt letters. This one officer in particular was rude when he inquired about the email I sent. But then, when he saw me teaching his daughter Bible verses, he returned his signed debt letter with a smile the very next day. No one ever smiled at me while returning the debt letter. That smile changed my whole attitude and outlook on life. So used to being the villain. 4 years of hatred, just doing my job. Became a hypocrite, teaching about God while I fell apart. So how did one smile lift my heart? All I knew is that kind exchange gave me hope one could easily change. Thrown in a battle, I didn't choose to live, but I might stop losing if I found what I could give. It didn't change my job or that shitty base. I still dealt with nincompoops and assholes, but I finally knew how to get through. I was more than what they trained me to do. So, when the Bible study ended, I had to find something else to do. There was a need for victim advocates to assist survivors of sexual assault with recovery. While it was extreme from teaching children Bible verses to working with survivors of sexual assault, it gave me purpose. Yeah. I didn't track down fees to help someone. I didn't fly the seas to help someone. One change of heart changed it all, and now I could fight for my own peace. My coworkers had no choice but to respect my efforts, because combating sexual assault remained the #1 priority of the Air Force. And because of my work, I was recognized and coined by high-ranking officials, including a 4-star general. That made a big difference, even while having the worst day job ever. One change of heart changed it all, and